Maybe before we get started, quick introduction of yourselves. Jost, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Jost. I'm working for Lufthansa Group. Started this exciting journey like 10 years ago, looking into how we would optimize our offer creation. Realized that we have some shortcomings, how we can actually put offers into fulfillment, and now taking care of our order transformation as well, like looking to the end-to-end perspective, and also being currently in the honor position to be the chair of the offer order group at IATA. Great to have me.
Welcome. And Naito?
Hi, everyone. My name is Tetsuya Naito from ANA Nippon Airways, responsible for pricing revenue management. Past years, I have been involved in JV launch, ancillary services launches, and also a little bit about the interline SPA agreement, yield management. And last years, I was heavily involved in the branded fare launch. And now, using this knowledge and also experience, I'm responsible for offers and order project in revenue management perspective.
Excellent. Welcome. And we actually do have one late-minute cancellation. We were supposed to have Peter Paul Vett, which is the Vice President of Revenue Management for Air France-KL Group. He actually had a little problem with his clearance, with his ETSA application. He was waiting and actually apologized. He really wanted to be here. He waited at the airport all day hoping and that it would get clearance and be able to fly here, but he is not able to make here. He did share a couple of his answers, so I might chime in with a couple of Peter Paul Vett's answers to some of the questions as well. Maybe to set the stage, this is a slide that I think is somewhere on my screen, but not on your screen. Thank you. So this is the slide that Alex shared earlier today, and it's one that we use really as a foundation of where we believe that offers need to evolve at the industry for dynamic offers. It's a shared slide that we use with IATA to describe it. I'm going to describe briefly kind of what this represents. So on the bottom axis, it really talks about price and how you actually establish price. It goes from fair filing of the price points to more price points using capabilities like dual RBD, using things like continuous pricing where you're inserting price on top of the fair filing or adjusting the price, what we call it, and then actually continuous pricing, which you're actually generating the price outside of any fare. And then on the y-axis, we really talk about product. So product is really starting with the right to travel, which one product, saying you just get to get on the plane, and then you move up and saying, okay, and in addition to the right to travel, you might have some bags or you might have some ancillary stuff that you include in the right to travel. You start to bring in more of the items like branded fares and fare family to create different packages of rights to travel with different type of ancillaries, and you do a la carte ancillaries. And then moving up that continuum, this is where we think product catalog will start to come into play, where you actually don't have to pre-package all these, but you have product that you can actually dynamically create and insert it and kind of move that forward. At ATPCO, we've been focused on trying to enable the capabilities across all dimensions. So on that first one, the optimized offer where you're dealing with filed fares and products, we implemented some items that we think really helped to start unlocking that. So that's where we started to introduce things like dual RBD. RBD, which Alex mentioned, is 60% of the worldwide ASK airlines actually are now using dual RBD in order to create more price points in the marketplace. We really believe that's a stepping stone to continuous pricing. Positional match was a little one we did, which is separating the rules categories and the optional services and fare family using a taxonomy and be able to identify for this particular position in the fare basis code that these are the products that help you unlock that. Going into the dynamic price adjustments, we have an implementation guide that we published on how you actually do continuous pricing, insert that on top in order to unlock that capability. And then we've done other items like enhanced distribution where you can separate out the content and have different content depending on if it's direct, NDC, or in continuous pricing to feed your engines. And then we also call the airline order posting, which was, or downline settlement, bringing that content back. And then the most recent, or kind of where the dynamic offer working group is really focused now, is continue to evolve the continuous price components. And this is where product catalog will be foundational on the product side. And then on the science side of evolution, we think data is going to be critical. So we're working on trying to continue to curate big data sets. One of the current initiatives we have within 3 Victors is shopping data, as well as on how do you continue and improve what you're getting from the marketplace, which we call web data. So all of those we're looking at trying to enhance. So ATPCO is focused on meeting the airlines where they're at, enabling capabilities all along the way to move them towards that. So that's setting a framework of where we're going. Kick off the questions. I would start maybe with Jost, kind of on your view on the importance of this dynamic offer journey and maybe some of your current strategies and capabilities that you're utilizing.
I would say it's absolutely key that we move in this dynamic offer creation because our customers, they demand it. So they use e-commerce channels all around the world. They have a very seamless experience in the e-commerce, but also like use Netflix, Uber, all the things with very smooth experiences, very tailored offers. And we as airlines are not really able to do so, or I can come back to the later in a moment. We are able with workarounds, but we are not there yet. And that's why we believe it's really key that we enable these offering capabilities in the first place, but also have the end-to-end view. So we need to have the same experience at every touch point. Like whenever there's a disruption, when you need to change something. So it's very key that you not only have fancy offers at the very first place, but also when you need to change them, customer wants to reshop things, that to the very last step in accounting, that you have the same experience. So this is key why we as Lufthansa Group are heavily investing into this transformation towards 100% offers and orders.
Excellent. Naito?
Oh, yes. Unlike Lufthansa, like global airlines, we have to say we are at the very early stage of planning and moving forward to dynamic offers and orders. But for middle-sized airline like us, we see very big opportunities waiting when we reach the status of dynamic offers and orders. So that's why we are here for collect all the information, technologies available, and get updated information for next 3 days. And also, even though we are still early stage for developing, we are already using GeoRBD, also branded fare technology, and also positional matching solutions in order to enhance our branded fare coding. So even though we are still living with RBD, but we're trying to create new offers and make different offers for different segment of customers.
Excellent. Any more do you want to share on Lufthansa, what you're currently using and kind of where you're going next?
So, as said, my journey Lufthansa Group started basically being responsible for how to set up the new offer creation, along with pushing the NDC like 10 years ago. And I totally agree that we probably should change the N in NDC. But that's a different story. So I think it was 2017 when together with one of our providers and a big science team on our side, we came up with a new algorithm how we want to calculate the continuous price. We're able to really come up with what is the exact price point for a particular customer. But we soon realized that we still need to put it on a ticket because the end-to-end process, PSS, everything that we have downstream is still relying on tickets. And this took quite a while to build workarounds that can consume this continuously priced element and put it into the discrete price ladder. So this took us some good 2 years to build this workarounds. And then we started rolling out just before COVID, started rolling it to our markets. And right now, most of our markets have continuous pricing, which basically means the price itself is calculated really continuously, but we translate it back to a discrete price point by using the existing RVs, the ticket and all the structures we have. It's, by the way, one of the reasons why we soon started looking into the end-to-end perspective. So realizing that offer is not the end of the journey.
Excellent. Maybe I'll do a little controversial one then, or a statement. I've heard it in the past that, filed fares, RBDs, they're actually just getting in the way of our journey to continuous pricing. Maybe I'll start with our friends at ANA. Your thoughts on filed fares, RBDs, are they really barriers for innovation?
My answer is yes and no. Is in pricing and offer perspective, we are in a way to getting rid of RBD. But if you think about our airline, middle size, but globally serving, we cannot live without joint venture, also interline partnerships. And for us to realize those joint venture, also interline partnership, we have to live with RBD. And so if you think about revenue accounting, especially for the interline settlement, there's no way we can do settlement without RBD. So we have to think in a way, one way there is definitely we have to exit RBD. But also the other way, we have to do all the stream from making offers all the way to ordering also airport delivery and settlement. We have to make sure all the downstream is making, Yes, we like get rid of RBD, but we have to live with it for such a short period of time. Yes.
And Jost, Lufthansa Group, you said you started looking at with the segmentation with fair filing and RBDs, and kind of as your journey's progressed, what's your thoughts now?
So I really like your very diplomatic answer. In itself, RBDs, flight fares are not the roadblock. It's the entire ecosystem, basically, and RBDs and flight fares are part of it. They were a very smart tool before the internet era to distribute products. But our entire thinking still today is based on creating products, distributing them through very tiny cables with teletype messages, and that's the mindset also that we use. So we definitely want to change this one, and we believe that indeed RBDs and flight fares will eventually go away. We still use them, for sure, as I mentioned before, and you can do a lot of things. You can implement dual RBDs, you can go to triple RBDs, which gives you vast amount of price points, but it's always coming with a price. It's a workaround that you need to deal with. So that's why we started thinking we need to think from the beginning. So what is the most challenging topic that we have? So it's at the beginning, it's the order management. So that's why, in contrast to some other carriers, we decided we want to start this transformation with the order piece first, because we can do a lot of things on the order side, but it's always coming with workarounds, and we want to get out of the workarounds. We want to have a native solution that enables us true retailing without all this costly and complex workarounds. So therefore, we'll live with RBDs for quite a while. They're not in itself the roadblock. You can do things together with your support as well, but eventually they will go away.
Thank you. Actually, I'm going to ask Peter Paul one, because he actually responded to it, and I really appreciated his response. So, Peter Paul, what do you think of that? Well, Tom, that's a really good question. So what Peter Paul said is, 1 second. I think the removal is a bit harsh. Most airlines, also Air France-KLM, would like to really be relevant in all channels for both worlds. So currently, most airlines are still using RBDs to construct dynamic and continuous offers, still using fare filings and actually growing fare filings in order to be able to distribute to all channels and used as a foundational piece for it. But we are exploring the future generation that goes beyond as well. Thank you, Peter Paul. Thank you, Peter Paul. Very well said. So, and actually, Alex mentioned that earlier, that what we've seen today is we are going to just have to acknowledge that our fare filing has gone up each and every year since we ever started this dynamic offer journey. And even for the carriers that are implementing continuous pricing, dynamic price adjustments, their fare filing is going up just as much as well. And that's kind of the reality of the world. We have an ecosystem that requires a lot of content to flow to make everything work. So we're going to see that we're going to have to make sure that those coexist for as long as they're needed. And then at some point, hopefully we can start to unravel some of it. And that kind of gets into the next question, really on interoperability. So we anticipated really a long time period where we're going to need this interoperability of different content types, different systems, and different capabilities. During this time, how important is that to your perspective from the airline, and what are you kind of thinking about interoperability? And I'll start maybe with Naito.
Yes, interoperability is very a crucial topic, because one day in the future, we will be exiting RBD, but it's not going to happen on one day. Because we have to still living with the somewhat depending on RBD, and we somehow continue part of the business without RBD. So we have to make a bridge between traditional world and also the next world. For such implement such business model, we need interoperability. Yes.
And yourself, Jost.
Absolutely. Interoperability is key. The more complex your business model is, the more you need to ensure that you have interoperability. Like the airlines that you have sitting here on stage today, we have a lot of interline agreements, we have a lot of partnerships, close partnerships, joint ventures. So we need to ensure that this works, because not everyone will be on the same pace. This is absolutely understood. So we need to build out a new world in parallel. So this is one of the hardest nuts that we have to crack. Like, how do you connect old and new world? One key decision that at least that we have taken at Lufthansa Group, we do not want to pollute the new world with artifacts from the old world. So we really built a native new stack, because we have learned from the e-ticket initiative, for example, where we're just copying over exactly the same artifact from the old world, and we want to avoid this one and the new one. Which basically makes it even more important. How do you connect the worlds? How do you translate between both if you don't want to have the artifacts of the old world and the new one? There's definitely where ATPCO is definitely helping us. So we are quite happy that we have an environment with RBDs, with file fares, that is running quite smoothly, that we don't have to bother our business continuity in this transformation, because there's a lot of things that causes sleepless nights. But at least I'm resting assured that the business that I'm having in place right now is running stable, based on the industry standard that we have in place. And industry standards anyway will be a key element also in the future. And again, ATPCO and the thoughts that we have together also with the other industry bodies, ARC was mentioned, IATA was mentioned, is really helping us to ensure the interoperability is there today, will be there in the transition phase, and will also be there in the target stage.
Excellent, excellent. Going on maybe to the one that I talked about at the very beginning on the matrix, as well as what Alex kicked off there. Product catalog is going to be a discussion a lot, I would say, over the next 2 days in this conference, and really hope that you can lean in and really understand better. We think it's really going to unlock really kind of the next generation of offer creation. I'd like to get your thoughts on the importance of product catalog and the importance of what needs to make that product catalog successful in the industry. So maybe this time I'll start with Jost.
So there's a completely new thinking behind. So it's not that we are just replacing SSRs, RFICs, or things that we have in place today. The product catalog is really a very good example where we are not talking about a tech component, so to say. It's a lot about mindset, a lot of how we approach things. So therefore, I'm quite happy that we see a lot of movement in the product catalog side. So we have a lot of industry bodies that are working on this together. So as mentioned in the panel before, there's a very close collaboration between IATA and ATPCO on this topic. Because this is one of the key components. You need to have a shelf where you have all the products in a well-represented way. With the descriptions, terms and conditions, taxation was mentioned before. It's a lovely topic that needs to be considered. All the things that you have around, not only the nice, rich media content that the customer sees, but all the things, also the complexities behind the scene. How do you combine different products into bundles? All the things need to be managed. And therefore, product catalog is one of the centerpiece to enable this one. So we have the offer engine that's combining all the things, but you have the data. You need to have the product catalog. The product catalog needs to be understood by your partners as well. Like if I have a fancy description of my new business class seat, my partners in Japan need to understand what it actually means and how they can combine this to their product. So product catalog needs to have this interoperability, and that's why it's good that we develop it based on industry standards. There's a lot of discussion around this. It's not an easy one, for sure, because you need to manage the trade-off between, having this very rigid standards that we have in place today, which limits me to absolutely in describing my business class product, which has 5, 6, different kind of seat types now. On the other side, if I leave it completely open, it's Wild West, and no one would understand what are my products, so I cannot really put it into the shelves also of my retailers and my interline partners. So that's why standards are super, super important to develop the product catalogs. We see a lot of movement, so I would just encourage everyone, reach out to the respective industry bodies that you trust most, participate in creating first versions of the product catalog. POCs are on the way, so think about whether you want to have a POC on the product catalog, because it's really the pathway for this transformation where we ensure that the different players in the ecosystem can work together and can put together products together that are sellable and fulfillable.
Naito, ANA, I know you've been kind of following along the product catalog journey that we're on. Your thoughts on the importance and kind of what needs to happen?
I want to speak a little bit about the filing perspective, because what we have experienced when we launched Blind Fair is that it's way complex to file all the brands into the record of ATPCO. And I think our product catalog in a way will giving us more freedom to file in easier and also more flexible way, and eventually will make us provide dynamic offers in the end. So I think product catalog, each of us airline has to study more about it for us to prepare for dynamic offers and orders. And for such, we have been participating every Thursday. It starts at 10 p.m. in Japan, but we have been participating focus group of a product catalog. There, we have been participating to study more about the product catalog, how we can convert current branded fare filing into product catalog and also enhance in the future toward dynamic offers.
Thank you for the kind of the plug for the design team, and make sure you're getting plugged into it. And maybe just to echo the couple of the points that both of the panelists here made. So the product catalog, we took it very intentionally, that we know it has to not only do the standard stuff, but also the dynamic capabilities. When we're talking about products and you want to transport a bag, for example, you don't want to debate over weight and size of the bag. You want some standards around to communicate that, so that way the bag can fly from beginning to end. But if you have an innovative product that you want to introduce and doesn't really require that level of standardization, we incorporated that into there, and then we actually have some POCs that Jost kind of mentioned and the others saying to get involved in on dynamic ancillary bundles, where you have the standard kind of data, as well as you have the ability to do a dynamic adjustment to that with a new product initiative that goes outside. So make sure you plug into that. And on the branded fares, I can't echo it more. I've heard from airlines, it can take a month or 2 months to actually create a brand new fare family because of all the setup process. It's not the ATPCO coding per se, but it's really all the setup, all the fares, all the rules, everything get aligned, and then communicate that with your partners to make sure you're aligned there, and doing the setup and alignment and make sure it flows from beginning to end, and having the policies in place. We're really trying to unlock that, saying let's rethink that. Let's get our people to think about the new world differently, which Jost mentioned, and saying how do we work now in a product perspective, get them to think about the products that they want to create, code the products, and then behind the scenes it can create branded fares if you still want to utilize that, but you don't have to do that as the initial setup. We think that will be really an unlocker of really changing how we work as an industry. So both of those I want to echo what they said. We touched a little bit on this already. Next one I want to go into modularity, and modularity has a few different dimensions, but how critical is it for you as an airline to have modularity in your solution offerings?
Key critical element of this transformation. So there's one reason why we were struggling in the past to have innovations in there, because you always have to consider the end-to-end perspective. And then you immediately have people coming in your organization, have you considered this, have you considered this, how is it working there? So what we have realized is we can have smart ideas about how we can come up with new offers, but put them into production is really difficult in this monolithic setup that we have in place today. And the centerpiece of this monolithic thing is obviously the PSS, with the technology, but also the processes and the mindset behind. So if I want to found an airline tomorrow, I could do it basically with one system, because from my shopping front and e-commerce to the very last step of accounting, a PSS would probably be capable in a very monolithic setup. At least the bigger airlines definitely want to have a more modular stack of technology, which gives them flexibility to design each component at the right time. So it was mentioned earlier today that you cannot run all the transformation steps at the same time. So there's no big bang. So you need to run it in smaller steps, which means you need to cut this big monolith into pieces to enable that you have individual modules that you can optimize, where you can find best providers, best own in-house solutions, whatever you prefer, but you don't have to consider the entire thing. This is definitely something we're seeing. Innovation was really hampered in the last years. We had super smart ideas from some people in our organization where they had great ideas how to come up with new offers, come up with new servicing processes for disruption cases, but at some point it stalled because the end-to-end process. So that's why we definitely believe into modularity. It gives us a big lever moving in this transformation. And helping also in the transformation. An important mention this morning. So as mentioned, order will be our first piece. Was interesting mentioned that accounting should not come at the very end. We totally agree to this one. Accounting will be also, for us at least, a thing that we do rather at the very beginning to avoid the workarounds. But this entire idea shows modularity is key. You really have to go there step by step and cut the elephant into small digestible pieces.
Excellent. Any thoughts on that?
We also think that modularity is a very critical topic. It's not only because that we have to do step-by-step approach, but we also have to think in a way that it's not like a PSS provider. We sign contract with one provider and give us everything. We have to make strategy on offers, orders, delivery, settlement, all that, and make all the pieces together. And also, it's going to be step-by-step approach, so it's going to make sense. It's going to make more sense but we do modular approach and also do step-by-step approach. And also, if you go in the market and talk to more IT providers, there are many providers out there who is not capable of making full infrastructure for first orders, but they're specialized in one specific aspect of creating offers. So why not using their technology and make a modular approach to accept those technology to make the better enhanced offers? So for that reason, I think we think modularity is very critical topic.
Thank you. I'm going to paraphrase Peter Paul. He actually sent a response on this one too from Air France KL. They think modularity is critical as well. And it's not just between offers and orders, because they do see modularity is critical there. They don't want to have separate decisions maybe in that and having them work together. But he also brought back into the modularity is critical when you want to talk to multi-carriers and multi-processes. So how do you actually connect multiple systems, even across your own airline to your partners and to your JV partners and the like? So it's going to be critical to be able to plug and play those different modules. So that kind of last question, and then we'll go to a closing. Data, I kind of talked a little bit on needs for data to drive the science. What's your view on the data needs for the industry moving forward, and kind of what are you looking at your airlines or on the needs for data? So maybe ANA, start with you.
There are many ticketing data or booking data available in the market right now, but what we are missing is shopping data. For us to moving toward dynamic offers and orders, what's going to be important is that what passengers offered and also how they select the offers or even leave the offers. Those information we are still lacking. And I also understand it's going to be very difficult to collect all the shopping data industry-wide, but at least for our own online sales.com, we can build a system in a way to collect all the shopping data to better enhance our next offers to the passenger segment group.
And Lufthansa, what's your thoughts on data?
Very well said. It's exactly the same for us. So there's tons of data out there. I think the most important thing that we want to leverage right now is our conversion data. Like, we are creating millions of offers every day, but we are not really tracking today what of these offers we convert into actual orders. And there's something where we will start building our technology first on, that we are able for all our channels, let it be NEC, let it be .com, let it be our call centers, that we can get a very good understanding which of those offers that we match for the customers are actually converting into some orders, so that we can dynamically adjust also according to the needs that we are seeing from those requests coming in. Yeah.
Excellent. And stay tuned. Tomorrow, John Murphy, the president of our core area, he'll be talking about data and the data needs for the industry and what we're focused on. So that will be on stage tomorrow, and there'll be separate breakouts on it as well, what we can address for the industry. But data is going to be the new gold, I think we all understand. So last question, just in closing, why collaborate at the industry level? Why not just go alone and figure it all out yourself and move forward? And then what advice do you have for the audience of where should they start or what should they look at next? So maybe you first, Naito.
For small airlines like us, we need to collect information. That's why we do appreciate those kind of forum opportunities for us to participate, collect all the information, get updated in the industry, and also make the latest technology provided. Because we are very at early stage of the making journey toward dynamic offers and orders, but we think that making strategy is very important at the very early stage, and collect all the stakeholders throughout the company to join the team and think together what the future status of dynamic offers and orders, for the reason as to get all the information necessary. I think industry-wide forum or opportunity will be very helpful for us to build our future.
And Jost?
I would say it's not only about size. I mean, Lufthansa Group has some critical size, and still we absolutely believe into collaboration. There's nothing that, even with our size and our 8+X, I stopped counting, brands that we have in Lufthansa Group, that we could do this on our own. So we need to have this partnership, let it be the close partnership that we have with our joint venture partners, but the collaboration on industry level with you guys, ATPCO, with IATA, with ARC, These are exactly the things that we need to do together. This transformation we all have to do together. Can only encourage everyone, reach out to your industry bodies that you trust most, and let's drive this transformation together.
Thank you. Maybe one last comment from myself. I started in this industry over 30 years ago, and actually started in the industry forums, kind of having discussions on it. And I actually, a key point that actually made me proud is I used in the very first meeting that I came over 30 years ago, example about Fargo. And Fargo has been stuck with me for the rest of my life, and actually used as part of the example is. And when I was recently traveling around the world, I went to our friends at Travel Sky, a lady I had not seen in 10 years. She said, Fargo, there you are. And then I went to another company most recently and haven't seen her in 10 years. And she remembers coming to the conference 10 years ago, and Fargo, there you are. And they all talked about what great things we did on automation at the time, using those examples, using their areas. I would say for this conference, product catalog is really kind of the key point that we want you to do. Get involved, understand product catalog, and 10 years from now, we'll talk about product catalog around the world, and you can all be part in enabling and unlocking the ability to move to offers and orders, just like we went 10, 20, 30 years ago on how we automated price distribution. So get involved, be active, provide feedback, share a story, and then all remember product catalog as an unlocker for dynamic offers moving forward. So thank you very much for the panelists, and I really appreciate your insights. And thank you for, we'll turn you over to the next session.